going to take the questions that you have. She's going to pop them in the chat box on YouTube for us, and then we're gonna answer those questions. So
let's go.
This is I got a little more going here, man. I figured out how to maybe do this. So
hey, let's do it.
What's going on in your world, Wise? What's happening, man?
Oh man, I just finished doing 2 lives back to back.
2 lives back to back.
Yeah, 2 lives. I've decided to take my show live. Stuck
all the
in
time.
My Mind podcast is live now all the time.
That's awesome, man. That was the way that I did mine for a while.
Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesdays are Stuck in My Mind live days.
That is freaking awesome. I'm gonna try and turn up my sound here because I can't hear you as much as I want to. How about?
Hold on, let me fix myself right here.
No, you're good. It's me. It's because I'm not listening through my headphones. I'm listening through the speaker that is going to the people on TikTok.
Oh, okay.
So I'd turn it up a little bit, but
no doubt.
Yep. So going live on the podcast, that's is that simultaneous on the radio station, or is it just straight up on the?
It's on. I'm going live on Facebook. I created a Facebook, Real Wise Productions Facebook group, so it goes live there. It goes to Stuck in My Mind YouTube channel, then it goes to Real Wise TV YouTube channel. Goes to my Twitch, LinkedIn, and Twitter now.
Oh, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. Because now you can go live. StreamYard allows you to go live on Twitter.
How about now, Nikki? You should maybe see it now on YouTube. It just popped up. Sorry, I'm using Restream, so I'm trying to make sure that we're going good. Let's see where we're streaming at. Oh, look at. Let's check your encoder settings, whatever that means. Like I'm supposed to know what that means.
Well, we have one viewer right now.
Is it just popping? That's popping on YouTube? Okay.
There's an eye right there, so it looks like somebody's watching us.
Okay. I wonder if that's me. Am I watching us?
Could be.
Oh, Nikki's got it. So that's Nikki. Okay, so Nikki is on. Our friend Nikki, the bacon lover. That's her. That's what her username is on TikTok. She's running that, so we're live on YouTube right now. We're going there, and if you have any questions on TikTok, because I'm looking at you right now,
let us know.
Let us know. Just type it right there. We're talking about podcasts and things like that. And I got some questions for Wise because we have a friend who ended up not being able to show up, but he has been doing a radio show on Stationhead. Have you heard of Stationhead before?
No.
No. Okay.
I might have. I'm not sure.
Well, yours is a kind of like an independent radio station, right?
Yes.
And so how does that work for you?
Not FCC regulated. It's not like a terrestrial radio station. It's internet based. So I'm not subject to the same rules and regulations terrestrial radio stations are.
So basically what you're saying is you can say whatever the fuck you want.
Basically, yeah. I can have curses. I can fucking curse all I want. I can do whatever.
That's awesome. That's the way to do it, right? I don't know about you guys, but I like to drop an F-bomb every once in a while. It's kind of the way it is.
Listen, my thing is if you can't curse in front of me, then I can't trust you.
That's awesome.
If you cannot drop an F-bomb once in a while, then we can't really be friends.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I was reading David Goggins' You Can't Hurt Me, or listening to. I say reading. I always say reading. I'm not really reading. I'm listening to it, but it's good to hear his voice. And he was talking about it, and he goes, I'm a fucking sailor, and if I can't talk like that, that's just the way I talk. And if you can't get used to it, and if it hurts your feelings, then I don't need you here.
Absolutely. If you can't put up with it, then yeah.
I'm looking at, so I'm kind of, even though I'm not supposed to be looking over there. AJ, one of our friends, she always does these videos, and she's like, "What the fluff?"
But at least you know what she's trying to say.
Yeah.
You know what she wants to say.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, if I said, "Hey, Wise, you need to be quiet," or if I said, "Wise, you need to shut the fuck up," which one are you going to listen to? Neither of them. Neither.
Yeah, not much.
But I mean, it like accentuates the passion of what you're talking about.
Oh yeah, Listen, you gotta cuss once in a while, man. It's good for the soul.
Well, so our friend Wolf that was going to come on here, he's doing this radio station on Station Head. It's kind of a cool thing. Bacon Lover says, swearing is fun. Her name is even Bacon Lover on YouTube. Good job, Nikki.
Bacon Lover. Yeah. I love the name. I love that name.
Well, if you follow Pops of 5, he's on TikTok as well, and he has this argument that bacon can't be a condiment or something like that, and so the argument is, there's this bacon argument, so she changed her name to mess with Pops. So it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But so he's having some issues. He's trying to do a call-in show where people can call in, and Station It has this little button where you can actually call in, and it's like calling in on a phone, but the sound isn't that good. Yeah. So this weekend I was listening to his radio show, and he bought like kind of a little bit of a mixer that was supposed to handle those calls. And I don't know if you have that type of like call-in capability on yours, but he was trying to figure out how to make that work.
What mixer is he using?
That's a good question, because I tried to get him. He didn't tell me what it was called, and that's why I wish he was here. But I told him to get a Roadcaster Pro, because that's the one, right? That's kind of the gold standard.
It is. Well, the 2 now is the real gold standard. It's so ahead of 1, but I still use my 1. I love my 1. But yeah, it helps with those call-ins, because you can connect your phone in 2 ways. You can connect it through the jack to the phone, right to the phone, or you can do Bluetooth. And so if you connect it Bluetooth wise, they can call in, and it tries to, and it improves the sound, the quality of the call.
Now the Roadcaster Pro, because what I'm using is a Zoom H6. That's what I have. Yours has more stuff you can do with it, right? Because mine, basically, I can use it it can record to an HD card. I can use it as an audio interface. I can take it and I can plug 2 mics into it, and I can record just audio. I can plug my phone into it, but it takes a few adapters and things like that. What else can the Roadcaster Pro do?
I can connect. All right, so on my Roadcaster, I can connect 4 mics, either my laptop or desktop, and my phone. I can connect my phone in 2 ways, so I can actually have 7 hookups on the Roadcaster. I can have up to 7 guests, like 4 in-house and 3 virtual.
Yeah, so you could have so at one time you could be interviewing 7 people, which I don't think you recommend, and I don't recommend either.
I'll do that.
I mean, it's tough enough.
I'll do that anytime soon.
Yeah, it's tough enough. Like I've done, the biggest interview I've ever done is 3 people, which I always thought was kind of interesting, because you have to kind of divide yourself between one guest and the other, and then you gotta, like, that's one of those ones where, like, you and me having this conversation, or me interviewing someone, like, I have to sit there and I could do this without any rehearsal or not having any questions, because I don't have to worry about, hey, is this question's for Wise, or hey, this question is for Fred, I mean, the kind of thing that you have to kind of go through. But I think it takes a little bit more rehearsal for that. Yeah, so Loving Life Out Loud, this is my friend Wise. Wise has been on my podcast twice now. We met through a...
We do not say his name.
Yeah.
We actually call him Voldemort.
That's it. That's right. We met through Voldemort. And but Voldemort is no longer in the picture, and Wise and my friendship has carried on. So there you go.
Yes, it has.
That is the good. So we always talk about trying to find the positive in every situation. And that was a negative situation, but I met a lot of good, positive people like yourself.
Yes. Oh, look, I say it all the time. He came into my life for a reason, and he connected me with so many amazing people.
Yep.
that I'm still friends with now, and that we collaborate a lot with. So he had his purpose. He messed it up. He had a lot of talented people around him.
Yeah.
He didn't know how to make that work for him, but hey, it's his loss.
Yep, exactly. So Wise and I have known each other. I'm trying to think. I'd have to go back and look when.
About 2 years.
Yeah,
We're
I would say
about
it's
2 years
pretty
now.
damn close to 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about that.
We're getting old in this game. You know, yesterday I got a notification on LinkedIn that I had been doing this for 3 years and 1 month. So that's pretty interesting to me because I kind of like I always picture my starting of my podcast like in November of,
Yeah.
you know, like 3 years would be in November. But I think I probably made the name and got everything started. But it took me 3 months to finally put out a damn episode.
Yeah. Well, it took me a year. I started my Podbean account in 2019, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't release my first episode to April 2020.
That's a long while. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think.
Because it was
COVID was 2019, right?
towards the end of 2019.
Okay, so
beginning
like
of
January
2020.
2019. Okay, yep. So
No, January of 2020. It was
Yeah.
November 2019. Yeah.
So AJ says people come into your life for a reason, and I agree 100%. And that's what we were talking about, AJ. And I know you kind of heard that, but this guy, Voldemort, we'll call him,
Yes.
or Darth Sidious, or whatever. I mean, he's just let's
Whatever
just say
you wanna
he's just
call
an evil guy. You know, you can put whatever name you want to put in there, whatever works for you. But he gave me. There's a lot of good interviews that I had, a lot of great people that I met through him.
Oh yeah, no. He listen. I'll be the first one to admit he helped me at the beginning of my podcast. He helped me get guests on my show. He brought me a few celebrities, and he connected me with some great podcasters.
Yep.
And so that right there helped me because at first I couldn't get a guest on my show. People would be like, "Oh no, yeah, what's your numbers?" That's one of the first things. And so to be able to connect with him and have him do what he did, I'm grateful for that.
Yeah.
So like, I never really had an issue with him, but he unfriended me because he didn't approve of me speaking my truth. Like to me was, yo, I am too old for some of the drama that you're causing. I don't need that in my life.
Yeah.
I'm more focused on building and being positive. And what you're doing is not fitting with what I'm trying to put out there. And so he unfriended me, and it was his loss. And now a lot of people are looking for him.
Yeah. Is he like? I don't even know if he's around anymore. I haven't seen him.
I don't. It's funny because I got a friend request a few months from him, and declined.
All right. So Wise, your podcast is called what?
Stuck in My Mind podcast.
Stuck in my mind.
Yes.
Why are you stuck in your mind, Wise?
Because when I first started, I was stuck in my head. Like I said, I had signed on Podbean at 2019. I signed up for Podbean.
Right.
And this is after I did my research. I looked at all different type of platforms, and I signed up for Podbean. And I completely forgot I had signed up for Podbean.
Mm-hmm.
So then when I finally decided to record and release it, I started looking again for a platform. And again, I found that Podbean was what attracted me. So when I try to sign up again, it says you already have an account with his email. And I'm like, okay, I don't remember the password, so let's reset the password. And come to find out I had already started in 2019.
And that was the 5 minutes you recorded. Like, had you released something, or was that just?
Yeah, the first episode was 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
It was just 5 minutes. But it was the fact that I finally decided to press record and release it. Because I had press record and deleted every single time. So this was finally me pressing record, keeping it, and uploading it.
Yeah. So you had it done. You had the episode, but you just didn't put it out there.
No, it wasn't even that. I kept recording and deleting, because I was stuck in my own head, especially with the self-talk. I was.
Yeah, no, I
Especially
get.
with the
It's so funny that it's.
But that's why I named it Stuck in My Mind.
I know, it's perfect.
That's the reason I named it Stuck in My Mind, because I was stuck up in there with so many excuses like, well, who's going to listen to me? Why would they listen to me? My voice is horrible. What kind of content am I going to put out? Just every single excuse I could come up with so I wouldn't do the podcast. until I finally said, you know what? Fuck it. Record, save it, upload it, release it. That's it.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing about that is like you could record that, and you could this is the thing. This is the stuck in my mind part. Like, right? You could spend all this time trying to figure that out, and you could record it, and you could play it, and then you could delete it. And I'm just like, screw that. I'm not deleting nothing. You want to know my history? Go look. It's
But
there.
so after like when I did record that episode, that 1 5-minute episode, I did it with my nephew Poppy J, and he was like, "Nah, we can't release it." He says, "Let's practice more. Let's get better at it." I said, "No. The point of us releasing it is so that people can see where we started at."
Yeah, exactly.
And so it went from 5 minutes to 7 minutes to 12 minutes to 20 minutes to I started doing half-hour to hour shows.
Like
And-
almost to the point where like today you were doing an interview when you were supposed to be here at 5:00, and like it overwent, right? It went longer.
You know what? It was I completely forgot I had scheduled this and I didn't put it on my calendar. So I had a show I recorded at 5, right?
Yeah.
And so I recorded my show from 5 to 6, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just chill now because then me and Wes are gonna record at 7.
Yeah.
At 6:20, I get the message from the guy, and he
Where
goes,
you at?
"Hey, we still recording." He says, "You're gonna send me the link to the studio?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I completely forgot." And so I had to set up the studio, and we started a little bit late, and then it was a cool episode. It was
Yeah, but you get carried
fun.
away, right? Like that's the thing. So like I was talking to these guys on TikTok before. I'm like, I'm gonna start TikTok now. I'm gonna let them know what's going on, whatever. And then Wise will pop in like 5 minutes, and 20 minutes later, he's still not here. And I'm like, this is me. I got to get out of my own way. I'm telling him that. It's like because I'm like serial early guy. Like I'm early to every single appointment, and it's so hard for me to. You have to learn to be. That's one thing that we should talk about because, like in podcasting, you have to learn to have a little bit of patience too. Because there's times where you've got a special guest that is scheduled, and they're going to have a big head about. And I'm not saying this is you, but it's one of those things you got to learn to punt, right? You got to learn to go with the flow.
yeah. Oh, things happen.
Yep.
Things happen. Anything from technical difficulties to being ghosted. Like on Monday, which was a holiday, I did a live, and I was supposed to have a guest on, and he probably completely forgot because it was Labor Day, and so he never showed up. He didn't get an email, nothing, and so I still decided to go live. I was like, I'm scheduled. I'm gonna just go live, and I put it out there like, yo, any of my podcasting buddies out there who want to come on and chop it up with me, here's the link.
Yep.
And I had a friend join me. It was cool. It was a great time. And again, it's those are the things you have to like. When it comes to this, is sometimes you just have to wing it. Sometimes things don't go as planned, and you have to run an option play.
Yeah. I want to say thank you. You know, I just wanted to say thanks to Nikki for running this because this is really cool. We have questions in TikTok. So if you're on TikTok, hit that share button, tap the screen. Let's get some more people in here. If you have questions, make sure you drop them. And then Nikki is popping them over here on the chat screen.
Yes,
On
I like
the live
Michelle's
over here.
question.
And so we've got a
I like
question
Michelle's
here.
question, yes.
Yeah. So
Michelle's
Michelle's question
question
is,
is-
do you ever space out listening to the other person?
Yes, I have.
Tell us why.
I'm not gonna lie.
Why though?
I don't know. Sometimes it's I don't do it all the time. It's sometimes with a guest it could be the topic. It could be something that just makes my mind wander or something, and you space out. But it happens. Things happen. Sometimes you think of something else pops in your head while somebody's talking, and you just
Right.
It doesn't happen all the time, but I've spaced out once in a while. Yes.
Yeah, so it happens to me as well, and there's usually two reasons. One, you thought that you're going to have this awesome guest, and Voldemort sent me a couple guests that were this way. It was like, okay, so you have to carry the conversation, right? Because they're
Yes.
not very
No.
they're not very engaging, and it's your job as the interviewer
all.
to draw it out. So you have to say more, you have to pull questions, and when you start having to pull teeth to get someone to answer something, it makes it a little bit tougher.
It does.
The other thing that makes me space a little bit is I am a thinker. So like someone will say something And then I instantly
start thinking
take
about it,
whatever
yeah.
they're saying and how do I relate that to my life and where does that go so that I can ask the next question. And usually what happens is they'll be saying something really important, but I'm trying to ask the next question and I'm not listening to the answer to the first question.
Yeah. The grind to start turning and stuff like that is just like they'll say something and they're like, that's interesting. Well, how can I come back? Well, what kind of question I come back with
Right.
after that comment?
And the funny thing
you
is
just
there's like,
miss what they just said to you.
yeah. The funny thing is there's like 3 questions I want to ask, but I only get time to ask one because I want them to continue on their story. And it's like then they say something that makes me, or they answered the question without me having to ask it. And so that sometimes you're just like, oh, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah. And then you get those conversations where you look at the time, you're like, where the hell did the time
Exactly, because the conversation is so good.
Yeah, and then you get those conversations like 10 minutes in, you're like, this shit has to end.
Yeah,
like now.
We want a half an hour. This is 15 minutes.
I try my best to get at least a half an hour.
Exactly.
I try what I can to get at least a half an hour, but sometimes it just doesn't work. It's just sometimes the conversation just doesn't fit, and so that's when you just know, like, yeah, I have to cut this short. I have to do something to make it. Or
I'm not feeling very well.
Yeah, no. So I've probably have a couple episodes in my thing that I know I will never release.
Oh, really? Yeah, that happens too. Like we got another question here, but I had one with I don't know if you guys follow Andrew F. Carter on TikTok, but he's a pastor that's been to prison, and he came on and he talked about it, and the people who were doing my show before couldn't get the internet connection correct, and they kept blaming him for that. And the second time, so basically I had to piece the whole thing together, and the interview's there, but it sounds like crap, and it was unsalvageable. You can kind of get some of it, but I left it there because there is some good information in there, and I need to have him back on. I need to see what he's doing and do it my way. So, question we have here: how did you feel when you released your first podcast?
Like a weight was lifted off of me. Like, once I released the first episode 2 was easy.
Yeah.
Episode 3 was easier. Episode 4 got easier. So it takes you finally just pressing record and releasing it. And to me, that was just, like I said, it was a big weight lifted off my shoulders. It showed me that, hey, listen, you're doing it. You released the episode. Let's go.
Yeah, and I think that just one of the things is like, if you're thinking about doing one, the hardest part is getting around the fact that it's like, I had this stigma in my head that it was so hard that I wasn't doing it right, that I couldn't do it. And essentially the very first one that I did was a video recorded on my cell phone that I uploaded to Buzzsprout. So that's how easy it is. If you're thinking like, oh, I can't do this, I don't have a microphone, I don't have something
I don't have
to
the
talk
equipment.
about.
I don't have the mic, the equipment, the mixer. Listen, you have the equipment, you have the phone.
Yep.
And now they have apps. There's Podbean has an app, Anchor, all these Buzzsprout, all these things have apps for your phone where you can actually record a podcast on your phone. So the excuse that, I don't have the proper equipment, it doesn't fly.
I was sitting there thinking in my head, I was like, what's your excuse?
Yeah, right.
You can do it. You got a voice. Do the talking.
You don't have an excuse.
Yeah.
You can't make up excuses anymore.
You can't handle the truth. Let's go.
Yeah, right.
Several comments say that we make this look easy. I can guarantee you that it gets easier every time you do it, and that's all there is to it. You learn to conversate better.
You improve, yeah. Every episode is practice.
Yep.
Every episode. Every episode you do is you improving, you testing something out. Whatever it is, it's practice.
I was looking in my bookcase because I was looking for the book Outliers, because if you haven't read the book Outliers, you need to read it, because guess what? It takes 10,000 hours to be good at something. And all the people who are really freaking good at stuff, Steve Jobs, the Beatles, Wayne Gretzky, all these people spent hours, and they hit that 10,000 hour mark before everyone else did. And that's what it is.
and that's why I grind the way I do, because I know I need to put those hours in,
Yep.
and I am. I'm I went crazy last year.
People don't know though. I mean, like you think about it, Wise, you got a full-time job, I got a full-time job. We're doing this with
And
a
then we do
full-time
this
job.
after work. Yeah, we do
Yeah.
this after work, but we do it because we love it.
Yeah.
So it's not because, yes, we would love the perks of being monetized and all that other
Yeah.
stuff, and being able to generate income from this. But that's not our end all be all.
No.
We do this because we love to do this. This is something we're good at, and we love to do it. Just the fact that we have some great conversations. I know I learn a lot from my guests,
Yeah.
and so to be able to have these lessons and be able to have these episodes and record all this, to me, it's not work. It's like I can get out. I can, no matter how tired I am from work, once I come in and I get into the studio and I start recording, that tiredness goes away because I'm doing something I love.
Yeah. Okay, so this question, I kind of saw it, and my attention is divided like this. Like, I'm surprised my eyes aren't going like this. But I see the questions here. Nikki's hopping up here, and it's not. She's getting it done. So, Love and Life Out Loud is asking, how many hours does it take to make an episode along with edits? So, it really, really depends. For me, anyway. I have someone edit my stuff. I have a good friend of mine who edits it for me. He doesn't charge me, so I don't have time to do it. And he told me he'd do it. I actually pay him in bourbon. You can come hang out with Jay and me on Wondering Wednesday tonight if you want, but I pay Jay with bottles of bourbon. So he's like, yeah, just send me a bottle every once in a while and we'll call it even, because it doesn't really take a lot to edit what I do. And so he can edit it, mine probably in about a half hour. Now, if you give a really in-depth show like he does, because he does segments, so he has like an opening, an ending, he does an interview, he does all these things, it takes a little bit longer. And maybe one time we'll have Jay on here and he can talk about that editing process and why it takes him the time it is. Wise, what is your editing process like?
You know what? That's one of the reasons I decided to go live, was to get rid of that part where I don't have to edit.
And I'll be honest with you, the reason why this is live is because we both don't want to edit anything.
Don't want to edit.
Yeah. And we could do this, and we just don't have time. And I don't want to hand another editing process over to Jay. When you have two voices, it takes a little bit more time. If you have two separate channels, it's helpful. But I mean, it could take you forever. You don't have to edit it. I mean, if you go and you listen to my podcast, I've been doing weekly episodes. I've done 3 of them so far that are called Raw Unedited. And you can hear that's what it sounds like when it's not edited. The voice is a little off. I was doing a live the other day, and Wise was commenting because he was watching it on YouTube that my volume was low. Well, there's something that I have going on with mine where I'm trying to do 2 things. I'm trying to do video and I'm trying to do audio. So it was set, and I don't know if it's any different now or if it's any better now, but it's set now more so that the gain is a little bit higher, so it's better for video. And then Jay has to go in and quiet me down because I'm louder than my guest when the audio comes on. So you got trade-offs that you have to deal with.
No, this definitely, it's definitely a lot of work, especially when you're sometimes if you're an independent podcaster and you don't have anyone that edits your podcast, then it's work, man. But again, there's some people who love it, who love to do it, editing. Like for me, I've been able to make it into a business. I've been able to edit other people's podcasts because, and to me, that I do it because, hey, I get paid good money to edit some. I'll sit down and edit a podcast in half an hour, and you can charge anywhere from $30 to over probably hundreds of dollars, depending on who you are and the quality you do, work you do. But I'm for the most part, I edit friends, people that need help, that they'll send me episodes and I'll edit and I'll make a few bucks off for it. But I'm not trying to become rich from it. I'm just helping out someone and they're paying for my time. But this is something like So people, they're some people get into podcasting thinking that they're gonna get 10,000 downloads, that they're gonna get monetized instantly.
Yeah.
It's not happening.
Yeah,
It's
it
not
still
happening.
hasn't happened.
Yeah. It's not happening.
We're 3
And I'm
we're
not
three
trying to
years
be a
into it, and it
downer,
still
but
hasn't happened.
well, I'm lucky that I'm monetized now on YouTube,
Oh, are you?
and
Nice.
yes, and so just it's pennies, but it's I'm
Well,
monetized.
yeah, that's what I was
It's a
telling.
start.
That's what I
It's
was
a
telling on
start.
TikTok. It's like it's 6 cents a day. It's something.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
monetized
start.
now on Buzzsprouts, and I get maybe 30, 40 cents a week from episodes, and my cost is $18 a month. So it by the end of the month, if I can pay for half of my bill, then I paid for half
That's
of my
good.
bill.
Yeah, and so I've actually I use Podmatch for my guests, and the creative of Podmatch has made it so that content creators actually get paid some type of commission. Like if you sign up for the paid subscription of it, which is $6 a month, right? You
Yep.
can actually get paid for certain guests. There's certain guests that you get paid a commission for. And I've I signed up in June. Wait, signed up in July, and I just made my third payment of $6. But in my bank, I have over 40 something dollars
Yeah.
from guests that I've interviewed using this app. And so I was able to create an affiliate link, and now I provide that link to other podcasters who struggle with finding guests. And when they sign up, if they sign up for the paid thing, I get a commission on that as well.
Yeah.
Every month, every time they pay monthly, I get a commission. It's about $1.60, but hey, it's something.
It adds up. It
Yeah,
adds
it
up.
does. Like I said, in the 3 months now, I have 40 something dollars in my bank. It's ready, but I'm not. I'm holding off on bringing it down until I reach a certain number, and I'm like, then I'll put it into my bank account.
Yep. Exactly.
But it's just the fact that he was able to. He's thinking of the content creator and giving them another way to make some type of money.
Yep. So we got. I think these two questions kind of go hand in hand. What are your biggest moments, and who is the most famous person you interviewed? I think those kind of go together. What do you think?
Oh man,
Would you call that
who's the
different?
most? No, that they would probably be the same for me. Like for me, one of the biggest interviews for me was Bob Doyle. It was huge for me because knowing that I read The Secret, I seen the documentary, and to have his people reach out to me, and him wanting to be on my show, that to me was like, wow, he
Yeah.
really. This is Bob Doyle we're talking about. This is someone who knows what he's talking about. He's been in this field for many years, and for him to actually come on want to be a guest on my show because he sees that I'm providing some type of value to my audience, and he wants to come on and share what he's doing. That to me was, it was amazing. I was like, oh man, I was on cloud nine when I got that message.
I think it's funny. I think that not funny. I think it's awesome that you got that because I remember my first interview with you. I talked about that book and you picked it up and showed the audience the book.
Yeah,
So we were both at the same time reading that book or going through that. So if you haven't read The
yeah,
Secret, you need to because it's an awesome book that just kind of it's a positive thing, and it's like just knowing that what you put into the world, you're going to get back. You know,
yeah.
that's really what it's about.
And people misunderstand that book because people who come, oh, manifestation listen, it's not. In order for it to happen, you still have to put in the work.
Yep.
It's good that you have your vision board and it's for your mind to start programming start setting up. That's what you want, but you still have to put in the work. It's not going to just miraculously appear.
Right.
You need to put in the work. So if that means that you have to read 10 pages a day or whatever it is to help you improve, that's what you do.
Yep. So hey, if you guys have any questions over here, make sure that you're posting them in the chat. We've got through the ones that we had. Nikki is in here, one of my moderators. She is hopping and popping it over here on YouTube so we can answer them. I'm kind of glancing over here back and forth, splitting my attention between Wise and I'm listening, and this is kind of the way that this is going. But I think it's super cool that we're able to go live on TikTok and live on YouTube at the same time, because it's really tough because TikTok doesn't really allow to do what we're doing here. If you have any podcast questions, drop them. We're probably winding down here. I've got dinner I can hear it in the oven, so we'll probably go about 5 more minutes here. But if you have those questions, get them out. This is a super fun thing that Wise and I do, and we don't do enough. So
yes, we got to work on it. We got to work to schedule it. We're gonna schedule. Yeah. We can probably push it for another day, because I look forward to these Wednesdays. Honestly,
I do too.
I look forward to us connecting, and this is our 3rd episode. This is the 3rd month in a row that we do this, and eventually we'll do a couple more episodes a month. Yeah, because this is fun. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy being able to interact, and that's why I decided to take my show live. Yeah, is because of interacting with the audience, and to me that's so much fun, because you really get to know what people want to ask. Like they get to ask that question live and in person. Yeah, and so to have those comments come through, just streaming through, it's like, all right, this is the joy of doing it live.
You know, I realize that I didn't answer that question, but it is fun. She wants to know when I saw this question, what was your worst one? I didn't talk about what my best one was, what my favorite one was. I forgot.
Well, so. I didn't. Well, that was one of my biggest ones, but my favorite one, because I'm a big wrestling fan, right? And I got to speak to Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat, and that to me was one of my favorite episodes, because, like I said, I'm a huge wrestling fan. I'm a big Harlem Heat fan. And to be able to speak to him, and I'm actually working on getting him back on my show, because when I interviewed him, I was strictly audio. So now that I'm video and I'm live, yeah, I want him to have it back on and we had a great conversation, because at first when they set up the interview, they were like, he doesn't really want to talk about wrestling. And I get that, and I understood that, because everywhere he goes, that's what he probably talks about is wrestling. But I also know he's big in his community with giving back. He's really into charities and stuff like that. And at that time, the George Floyd situation had occurred and all that. So we were able to speak on those topics and talk about those things. And it was crazy, because at one time I would play a game with my guest, and I asked him if he wanted to play the game, and he was like, "Oh, I don't really do that." But by the end of the conversation, he was like, "Yo, we can play that game if you want." So that to me showed me that, we really built something in this time that we recorded, that he was willing to, that he was willing to record. So I was like, "Oh man." Yeah. But as far as my worst podcast, oh man, it was this dude. He's he was working on a film, and I mentioned the game that we played, and we played the game, and the game's called Would You Rather. So it would give you two options of stupid things, like, would you rather fart in the elevator in front of a bunch of strangers, or belch in front of, while giving a presentation at work. Yeah. And so it was some stupid questions like that, and he just overanalyzed it. I'm like, dude, it's just fun. It's hypothetical. There's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing serious. It's not that serious. It's just, would you rather eat a bunch of peanut butter with your mouth stuff, or just whatever it is. It's so yeah.
We got Warriors Collection in the house. That's one of my guests, one of my good buddies, Brian Sales. I've had some pretty cool stories about how I got the interview. So I think that's I have two that I would say probably are my favorite ones, just because of the way that I got them. Because we sit here, and a lot of my interviews are just people that I know, people that are friends of mine, or I meet on TikTok or something like that, and I reach out to him and we have him on. Like Brian's been on because he's a buddy of mine. My friend Jay's been on a bunch, but Jake Rose is one of my favorite interviews just because I got to actually talk to him about his music, but also Chris Henderson from Three Doors Down. Both of these people I met or I messaged on Instagram like I do sometimes. Like I'll get on there and I'll find like 10 celebrities that I want to talk to and I'll DM them. And none of them ever answer. But both of these two did. And Jake, I was sitting in getting oil change in my truck and I had messaged him the day before because I saw his on the podcast. And I said, "Hey, dude, do you want to do this?" He goes, "I'd love to have you on mine." And he DMs me. He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm good on Saturday at this time." I'm like, I wasn't going to record that day, but I am now.
Yeah. Why? But you know what? It wouldn't have happened had you not taken your shot.
That's the thing.
Some people are like, "Oh, I'm afraid to act." Listen, the worst thing they can say is no.
Yep, exactly. It's life. They don't even have to say no. They don't even have to answer you. Trevor McNevin for 1,000 Foot Crutch. I DM'd him 2 years ago, and I got a message from him. He says, "Oh, I guess I haven't looked at my messages very long, but I'm not doing any interviews right now." You're like, he told me he wasn't doing any interviews, but he was going through his DMs, and this was 2 hours later or 2 years later. You're like, he goes, "I guess I'm a little behind." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess you are."
a little, just a tad little.
So don't be afraid to reach out to people, and never. The other thing that I can say is like your connection, right? Like the connection of the people that you have interviewed with or talked to every single day. They may know someone. Like I've walked into the job that I have. I've been in two former NFL players' homes, and I was afraid. Like I'm gonna do it at some point, but I was afraid to ask them to do it. Like I was in Darren College's house selling him window coverings. He's a Hall of Fame lineman. I was in Shea McClellan's house, played for the Patriots, one of the Super Bowl teams on the Patriots and the Bears. It's like, here you are next to these people and they're normal people. Shane's in the house. Shane Lakita. He's been on my podcast. He has his own podcast. These are just great people, and that's the thing.
Maybe we can have Shane on and he can talk about his experience. Like this is why we're doing this, is to be able to help people who want to start a podcast or who have doubts about starting a podcast because they're afraid or they don't know where to start.
Yep. We got a lot of my guests popping in right now. Emilio Carbajal, Carbs Custom, was on Forged in Fire this year, which is badass. And I went to school with him. So, we played sports together, I guess, or my little brother played sports with him. But I know Emilio, and he's made me a bunch of stuff, and I know him pretty well. So super fun stuff. You never know those connections, who they lead to. That's all there is to it. So
absolutely.
Make sure that you treat people with respect, and that's what's going to happen. So,
Yeah.
Well, Wise, we probably better wind this down. You said that you've been doing your podcast live every time. Why don't you tell people when you're doing that? Is it pretty much every day, or what are you doing?
Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, anywhere between 2 and 6 p.m. Next week, I think I have 2 shows. I actually have Alex Sanfilippo, who's the creator of Pod Match, coming through on Monday. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited because I actually got to meet him in Podfest, and he's a great guy. We had a great conversation. And then Tuesday I have another guest, and then I might have another show Wednesday, but I don't have a guest, so I might just freestyle that one on Wednesday.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. That's kind of what I've been doing. I have 5 people in the deck. I got 2 in the bank right now that I'm waiting for. I'll put out. I put out the interviews on Monday. I started doing a solo type, a little shorter, unedited one every Wednesday that I'm dropping, so that's out now too. It's funny. I got to listen. I listened to that one. I listened to, and then I changed the name of it after I listened to it because it's usually like me rambling about something about what I'm going through, and So this week was The Architect, the Dreamer. He's a rapper on TikTok. You should check that one out. Really cool men's mental health advocate. Talked about being sober for 9 years. Talked about committing or attempting suicide, and just kind of the things that mental health issues that people go through, and they just kind of bury them and they don't deal with their problems. So it's one of those things.
Yeah, and that's one thing, especially for men. It's to me, that's something I'm real I'm very dedicated to his mental health, especially for men, because we've for many years it's been a taboo for men to be able to express themselves or go to seek to ask for help,
Yep.
because we're supposed to be strong. We're supposed to be we can't show weakness. We can't
Right.
cry. We can't show emotions. So to be able to show people like, hey, listen, we're human, man. We
Right.
have feelings. We're not machines. So we we it's not a bad thing for you to have to ask for help. It
Yep.
really isn't. If anyone out there needs help or needs someone to talk to, shoot me a message. I'm
Yep.
always willing to listen. Or if you find some, like whatever it is you find, if you find someone that will listen to your issues and not judge you, I recommend that you go speak to that person, because sometimes you just gotta let it out.
Yep. Exactly. Well, man, it's been good. This is good. We'll have to talk. We'll
Always
talk a little
fun,
bit
brother.
more about doing it a little bit more often. So
Definitely, definitely.
we'll have to drop it maybe 2 weeks and start doing that, and then see where we can push it out to. So if you guys, if you can please subscribe to both our channels, both our YouTube channels, our podcasts, our Instagrams, everywhere that you can find us.
Find us, yeah.
We got to kick this. We're trying to kick this into high gear, and we want to get the word out there. If you know anyone who needs any help with a podcast, we'd love to help them. And that's really it. That's what we're doing. We're here talking about what we're doing, what we're going through, who we're interviewing, things like that. So, yep, it isn't. You are correct. And we could spend a whole podcast talking about men's mental
Yeah,
health.
and that's one of the things I like to talk. I focus on my podcast is to let people know that,
Yep,
man, it's okay for men to go seek help, man. It's all right.
100%. All right, everyone. Well, hey, thanks for hanging with Wise and myself. We're gonna have to find a show name. It sounds like we're gonna have to figure this out.
We're gonna have to. I guess we are gonna have to.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for hanging.
Later, guys.